As you can see, I have many leatherback books. This girl's got her titties out. Oh shit. Girlfriend's gonna be pissed. Just give my respect back and my love back to people that have given it to me and have helped me along the way. I'm doing a vlog here and you're ringing my door. Getting intimidated me and someone at the door. I'm not answering that shit. I'm gonna have to go see you at this door. There's your mom around. Clean my fucking windows. Definitely gonna edit that shit in. Where was I? So, I've just put up the last of the Nationals weekend vlog. It was weird. It was a really big weekend. It was a really long weekend and a lot went on. But it was nice to do this, like this vlog. Just after watching the final day there, you know, hearing some of the voices in the crowd really, hearing some of the voices in the crowd and seeing some of the faces that were there and just kind of thinking back over the weekend that was had, it really made me think and reflect more about prep. You know, I mentioned once or twice I had a really, I didn't have a really tough year. I just didn't have the best year. It was a bit of a shit year. It could have been a lot better, but look, it could have been a lot worse. When I started becoming a little bit more known, and I started meeting more people in the industry, we'll say, I don't like using the term, but you know, in the industry, in Ireland and the UK, I hadn't competed. You know, a lot of people only knew me after, or when I was between shows. Not many people knew me when I was competing or had competed. So this was an opportunity for me to show a lot of new friends that I've made along the way. You know, me competing and me being on stage and going through prep and stuff like that. And there's a lot of friends I made this year that are friends for life, and I'm never going to ever let them forget how much they mean to me and how much I owe them from this year especially. You know, I met Niall Kennefick, his missus Emma Ryan, Paul O'Sullivan, Sean O'Donovan, David Young. I didn't meet Dave this year, but I know Dave a while, but I moved in with Dave when I moved down to Cork. And just those particular people, I met them, didn't know them long, and they treated me like we've been best friends for years, and still to this day they do more for me than they ever should. You know what I mean? Like, I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. Just thank you guys very much for everything that you've done and been there. You've been there with me. Even when I moved back home, they were there. They're always on the end. They're always just a text away or a phone call away. I don't think they know how much I really appreciate that. So, Dean Donlan, you all definitely know Dean at this stage. Dean parked aside an awful lot of his time over the last 12 weeks to just be there for me while I trained for this show. I had a lot of people ask me 12 weeks out if this was something I actually really wanted to do, and that I could, if I wanted to, just pack the show in and leave it the next year. And I really wanted to compete, and that's all I ever said. You know, to Dean, Eddie Colgan, they all asked me, you know, we don't really have to do this. Even David Young said it to me. And I was like, no, I just really want to get back up on stage. And that's all this was for me. And I said that a few times over the last few videos. I don't know if I edited them in or not. I can't remember, everything's a blur now. But this is what it was about. It was just about getting back up on stage for me. And I did, and I'm happy with what I did, and I'm happy with the people I had around me while I did it. Like I said, Dean parked aside an awful lot of his time to just push me through sessions. You know, a lot of the time, you know, he was giving up time with his missus or stuff he could have been doing. But no, 5 or 6 o'clock every evening, Monday to Friday, he was there, and he pushed me through some sessions. There was a lot of times I walked through that gym door and I didn't even want to be there. And he let me walk back out of that gym happy I went. So there's none I appreciate more out of this whole prep than that man right there. I owe an awful lot of what, like that trophy, like the second place trophy is ours. Like that's very much his as it is mine. We have that kind of friendship where I won't really say that to him an awful lot to that depth, but he knows. But this is just solidifying. Eddie Colgan, Dara Smith, Larry Doyle, a few competitors, Lachlan Gannon, that I know that have done very well and do very well in the sport. Again, always just a text away, always kept an eye on me. I always feel like they're like Eddie is like a dad to me, and the lads are like brothers. They're like blood, and I feel like I feel like I have good mentorship with them. I've got the best eyes on me I could possibly have, and then if I ever have anything, like they've never not texted me back or rang me back or picked up the phone to me. My family, I'm not the moodiest son of a bitch when it comes to dieting. I have my moments where I'm spiky, and I think they know me well enough now to just give me my space when my space is needed. But yeah, I have the most supportive family in the world. My mum is an absolute legend. A lot of people know her in competing. She competed before years ago. She's the reason that I have the genetics I have, I guess. She's also the reason I'm here, which is also pretty cool as well. But my mum is extremely supportive, and she herself is a very determined and hard-working person, and I draw an awful lot of that from her. And she motivates me on a daily basis, seeing her do what she does with no excuses, and she's the epitome of like no excuses and just working hard. And I've heard her complain about being tired, and I've seen her tired, but I've actually never seen her falter once. And it's inspiring to watch her just be, because she's just constantly moving and she hates being still. So yeah, that's, my family are my absolute everything, and I wouldn't be able to even think about doing half the stuff I've done without them. Everyone. Dean Garton on the point side, that's another guy as well. Always had his doors open to me, and Aidan Brennan in Unapproved training facility. Two lads that run the two gyms I trained in over prep. Always kept the doors open for me, always made sure I was okay and looked after for me. Dean especially was always there for me when it came to my prep and how I was, and making sure my head was right. And saved the best for last. My girlfriend Ashie. I met Ash and I was in the middle of prep. Now, for a 22-year-old to dedicate an awful lot of his time, his money, and his just mental capabilities into himself, with a specific focus on his physique, not a lot of going out for meals, going out for drinks, doing a lot of social things just doesn't happen on a prep. And anyone that has competed before knows that. Anyone that hasn't competed before, you could probably guess that. You know what I mean? All of your money goes into food that's not necessarily nice in what most people would consider. There's no takeaways. Everything's out of Tupperware and prepared. I spend an awful lot of my time training and doing cardio. I spend an awful lot of my time being tired. Now, as much as I don't let that affect how I am around her or around anyone else, to be able to just start a relationship with someone who's very much invested into themselves and doing something that I don't really necessarily have to do. I don't get really any gain out of it. There's no financial gain out of it. This is something I just want to do, and it's essentially my hobby, and it eats into a lot of time. Only now, really, in the last week, have I been actually able to spend time with her, and do things that are normal. Like we've been able to go for lunch here and there, driving to Dundrum for the photo shoot and getting ice cream afterwards. Like just simple stuff. I think, especially for bodybuilding, I think to have that kind of stability, especially in a relationship with someone, I think is essential to success in bodybuilding, and then just life in general. Obviously, it makes sense, but for competing, I think to have a woman that's as strong, or if not stronger than you, I consider her a lot more strong-minded than I am. But yeah, it makes a difference, and to be able to know that that's where we started our relationship, when I was not in an easy place or an easy situation, or I'd be considered a difficult case because I can't do fuck all. So there's not a lot of fun to be had with me in regards like going to the cinema, or obviously these are things you can do, but you'd feel guilty being around someone that can't eat when there's popcorn and sweets around, and it just makes the situation awkward. So yeah, so Ash, I love you. Everyone else, I love you loads also. Thank you to everyone who's been there this year, and here's to the next so many years of competing and pissing people off. And as you can see, I got a stand going, so Rob Lipset, I'm fucking coming for your ass. I'm just kidding.